As we all know, the market's been a little crazy, and a lot of buyers have felt kind of left out in the cold. But in case you didn't know, there's a shift going on. Hi everybody, I'm Diana Harvey, and in case you didn't know, is my mortgage show. I'm here today to talk a little bit about some things that are happening. I like to call it the elephant in the room. Things that are happening that really is causing a little bit of change in the market. So we're going to have a discussion today about inventory, supply and demand, interest rates, and affordability. So I'm here today with Sara Taylor, part of the Vanessa Letter team at Keller Williams, and we're going to discuss this topic.
Good. It's perfect timing. There's been a lot of changes the last few weeks.
Yes, yes. Sara, I know you've been very active in the market, so you've been in the business quite some time, and you've seen a lot of different changes in the marketplace, and a lot of people now are kind of frozen, wondering what's happening and what to expect. So let's start by talking about inventory.
So, as everyone knows, we've had just a crazy market for the last 18 months to 24 months, and we've had less than 1 month's supply inventory. And what that means for everybody is that anything less than 6 months of inventory is a seller's market. Mm-hmm. A 6-month inventory is a balanced market, and anything over that is a buyer's market. So we have been in a very, very tight seller's market where we've seen multiple offers, people waiving appraisals, and right now what we're experiencing, which has caused just this bizarre effect in the market right now, is that we went from 0.5% approximately to 1 month inventory. So we're still in a very, very tight seller's market. However, we've doubled our inventory.
Okay, so inventory is doubled, but it's still not a lot of inventory.
Not at all. It's still not a lot of inventory, and it's still a very strong seller's market.
So what is controlling that? I know supply and demand is a big factor in everything. With the limited inventory, that's one thing. How is the possibility of inflation and all of that and supply and demand, how's that affecting what's happening?
So what we're seeing is buyers just kind of take a breather, take a step back. A lot of people are afraid to make a move right now because they're hearing things on national news about a recession, interest rates rising, and a recession typically would indicate that our prices are going to go down. However, when we still don't have the supply and we still have 1,000 people on average moving here a day, as long as we have a supply issue, we're going to have very little effect from the recession as far as house prices are concerned.
So maybe a little bit of a not so crazy inflation, but we're still going to see appreciation on properties.
We are, and FannieMae is suggesting nationally that we will continue to increase throughout 2022, and they're predicting a 3% increase in 2023. We outpaced that, so we'll see a little bit stronger increase. But there's nothing to indicate we have a crash coming. Again, we're based on a solid foundation. We don't have the issues we had in 2005 with subprime lending and massive foreclosures. So a shortage in inventory combined with that solid foundation that has helped us get to where we are at now will just keep things normal. I'm actually kind of looking forward to it.
Normal would be a really nice thing.
Yes.
Well, one of the other topics that we need to address, again, it's the elephant in the room, is mortgage rates.
Yes.
Mortgage rates have gone up quite a bit from the low figures that we're used to.
They have. But perspective is incredibly important right now. And I'll talk about when I'm working with buyers. Everyone's panicking because the rates are going up, but we're still at a historically low interest rate. And people are used to this 2-3%. That's not normal.
No, it's not.
From the 70s until I think it was about 2010, we were over 5%. So imagine
that was the norm.
Right. My parents bought a house in 1982. I think they told me they were at 18% interest. And I was like, how'd you do it? And they said, well, that's just what you did. You bought a house.
That's what it took.
You figured it out. And it's really important for buyers to focus on their monthly payment and not what their interest rate is. And I liken that to when you go to buy a car. The first thing they ask you is, what do you want your payment to be? I'm not sure you even talk about interest payments. So as long as you're comfortable with your mortgage payment, it doesn't really matter. And find the house you love, commit to it for 7 to 10 years or more, you can always refinance. So I like to tell people, marry the house, date the rate.
There you go. There you go. Don't focus on the small things. Focus on what's the bigger picture, which is getting into that property, getting yourself into that appreciation cycle.
Absolutely. Build equity.
So let's talk now a little bit more about affordability and those sales prices.
So we're seeing a little bit of an affordability gap because the prices are increasing and the interest rates are increasing. So where somebody might have been pre-approved, for example, at $300,000 with a payment of $1,200 a month, now their payment might be, let's say, $1,500 a month. So we have to look at where we're looking now, and we need to look at wish lists and want lists, because what they could afford, we might have to either say, this is what I want in my house, and we have to look in other locations, or we might stay in the same location and change our wish list a little bit.
So the affordability is still there. It's just you kind of have to alter your plans and goals.
Absolutely.
So in summarizing all of this, how would you put it all together to tell people, to assure people that they really can calm down, the market's not out of control, and we've discussed some of those big opportunities?
Absolutely. So home prices annually, if you look at the trajectory with the yellow line in the slide, they say 4% a year. And if you go back to 1990 to where we're at, you can see that we're actually where we should be. What happened is we had that bubble in 2005, 6, and 7, and then we had that crash. But with that being said, anywhere on this timeline, if you look at a 10-year window, for example, if you look from 1990 to 2000, you still made money on your house. Even if you bought it 2005 and sold in 2015, the worst case scenario is you broke even. So we're exactly where we should be. You need to look at this as a long-term investment, 7 or more years. The market's going to go up and down. It is what it is. But we're at a perfect storm right now. It's a perfect time to buy, and it's a perfect time to sell, because as time goes on and we reach that 5, 6, 7 month inventory, it's going to become less of a seller's market and more of a buyer's market.
And in the meantime, all projections are that appreciation is still going to happen.
Absolutely.
So again, the single most wealth a buyer can have is by owning a property.
100%.
Sara, you have done an excellent job kind of helping us digest this elephant that's out there. I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Diana, for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.